Welcome to the Happy, Healthy Life Podcast with your hosts, Rob and Randy, who reveal the truth, the lies, and confusion about health so that you are no longer the victim to mainstream medical dogma and you are the hero to your own happy, healthy story.
Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of the Happy Healthy Life Podcast with your host, Rob and
Randy.
And we are
the Happy Healthy Guys.
All right, we are on episode 121. You are going to want to listen to this, especially if you are planning on going on a vacation either this summer or anytime in the future, and you're wondering, how in the world do I go on vacation and manage to maintain my healthy weight? So most people, here's what happens before they go on a vacation. They go on the vacation, they decrease their calories only to crash and burn while they are on the vacation. Can you feel me? And then they start it all over again when they get home.
Oh, it's the worst. And then in fact, what happens is when you leave, you have a worse metabolism, and now you're walking into an environment where it's almost like rules don't apply. So when you build real metabolic flexibility before you travel, you don't have to stress. You get real wiggle room, and you get the luxury of not having to be perfect because your body knows how to burn fat anywhere in the world once you have a strong metabolism.
Yeah, so we're going to be talking about how to be able to navigate this while you're on vacation, because here really is the vacation trap. You know what? Anybody ever had this happen to them where, okay, vacation trap is this. You know that you're going on vacation and it is a beach vacation. You're like, all right, I got 3 more months until my beach vacation, so I'm going to get in the best shape of my entire life. I'm going to the gym. I'm going to eat good. I'm going to look good in my swimsuit. I am ready. Next thing you know, 2 months fly by, and you hadn't done any of that stuff. Life got in the way, and now it's a month before your vacation. You're like, okay, I'm starting. And you still don't start as 2 weeks before the vacation. You're like, all right, crash diet time, cutting out calories. All of a sudden you become a workout warrior. You're in the gym, you're sore as heck, and you may lose a few pounds. And here's what happens. You end up going on the vacation. You eat a bunch of bad food. You overeat. You start feeling guilty about it. You come back, you get on the scale only to have gained back all the weight that you had lost going on the vacation, and you've gained some extra pounds as well. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I got to go on another diet. Has anybody ever done this before? Anybody?
I'm sure this doesn't connect with anybody that's watching and listening. Okay, our live audience here, we got one hand up in the air. Chris, you're the only honest person that's on the podcast today. Funny story, this is actually part of my vicious cycle leading into my life BC, before cancer. But I remember even back in high school, into college, even as a young adult, that our family would always go to Destin, Florida every year. You obviously know this about my family. And I would always, I'd get ready to be on the beach. This is the one time a year that I get to go to the beach, and I am going to look my best. So I'd be in the gym every day. I'm just whatever trendy diet at the time. I'm cutting out this, cutting out that, using willpower. Also, I could go on this vacation to just binge eat whatever I wanted. I remember one year, and this is crazy. This is how bad you can create these vicious diet cycles. Is I went on the vacation, got in great shape, and I remember how much I was craving ice cream. And of course, I used to love ice cream. You know this about me. Who doesn't love ice cream? So I remember buying a half-gallon. It was called Millennium Crunch. So do the date on that. That was Y2K.
Okay.
So it was the year 2000. Like, oh my God, 25 years ago. I was 26 years old. Crazy. So I buy this half-gallon of Bluebell Millennium Crunch, and I buy a half-gallon of whole milk, and I ate the whole half-gallon of ice cream. I drank the whole half-gallon of the whole milk, and I remember laying in the floor because I couldn't move, and I just stayed there and fell asleep that night. That is a real bad food addiction. This is not a joke. I had no idea that my addiction was that vicious. But when you deplete your body of nutrients, when you starve yourself on diets, when you cut out everything that you love, it ends up creating more of a desire to want things worse. And you actually cripple your metabolism while doing that, which means now as you go into that vacation, like you said, and you're eating all these foods that you've been depriving yourself of, now all the weight comes back with a vengeance. So when you do get back, not only did you gain the weight back, you got more, and now it's even harder to get that weight off. Vicious cycle.
Yeah, the problem with that as well is a vacation simply means you're going somewhere to another destination and you're actually coming back. Most people, when it comes to their health and their nutrition, they go on vacation, and instead of coming back and being on a vacation, they actually move to that place. They move to that place where they continue along that path of eating poorly, and then you say, screw it, because what ends up happening is, let's say it's summertime and you're going on this vacation, July 4th weekend or week, and then you come back and you're like, oh my gosh, the summer is almost over. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to keep on living this way, making these bad choices. August rolls around and now the kids are back in school and you're like, oh, didn't have time, pass me by, I'll get back to it. Next thing you know, the holidays are here. Then you're making your New Year's resolution. Anybody resonate with this? Am I the only one that used to do this stuff?
Yeah, it's like you give yourself an excuse when the weather starts to change. It's getting colder. You're not in a swimsuit. You're wearing more clothes. And you're like, I'll eat whatever. The rules really don't apply, but it really started way earlier than that. But once you get there and you're already in that mindset, like you said, you hit the holidays and wow, now it's January 1st. You already know your New Year's resolution. And you're thinking about, you're taking the kids to Destin, Florida for spring break in March. And you're like, holy crap, what am I going to do?
Yeah, the problem is that New Year's resolution is done by January the 12th. And
it goes that long?
Yeah, if that. I think that's why January 12th is, if I don't know if you guys knew this or not, but that's the day that the most chocolate is consumed on January 12th, because that's when everybody gets off their New Year's resolution.
Yeah, it's about
I don't know that
chocolate consumption day.
Exactly. I don't know that to be true. I just made that up. However,
well, there's a day for everything, so let's go with it.
That's that's absolutely accurate. It's so dumb. And then you end up doing the same exact thing happens then with spring break, because you're going on a beach vacation for spring break. And so the point of that is you're in this cycle, in this pattern. So let's go ahead and break you out of that cycle, break you out of that pattern, and talk about the secret weapon. Here's the secret weapon to being able to go on a vacation, enjoy yourself on that vacation, not worry about gaining weight, not worry about having that pound rebound phenomenon when you get back from the vacation. Here's the secret weapon. Dr. Randy, what is the secret weapon?
Oh, this is easy. It starts with an M and it ends with metabolism. It is your metabolism. That is the secret weapon. Remember, when you have a healthy metabolism, your body burns lots of calories just sitting there, and it's really effortless. You don't have to try very hard and you don't have to be perfect. But when your metabolism is broken and it's unhealthy, you don't burn those calories. And it does not matter what you do. You can starve yourself. You don't burn calories anymore. You store them. And here's the worst part. You store everything as body fat. Because when you're in a low energy state, devoid of nutrients, when you're depleting yourself of real food nutrition, your body will store everything. It thinks you're in a famine. It thinks there's no source of food. And so you become this fat storage machine, and it is a vicious cycle. And it really feels like it doesn't matter what you do, you are stuck. So vacationing and living life on a bad metabolism, it is a nightmare.
It is a nightmare. So with that, with that secret weapon and having a healthy metabolism, it's not just about having a healthy metabolism. It's really about having metabolic flexibility. So metabolic flexibility, meaning that while you're on vacation, you can be able to eat the carbohydrates because your body needs that for energy and fuel. You can be able to have the fats that use that for fuel as well. So you can be able to go between both. So you don't have to be on vacation, for example, like in a few weeks where we're actually it's going to be a quote working vacation because we're going to go. Yeah, they are the best, the best kind in Sardinia, Italy, in Croatia. So we're speaking at a retreat in Croatia, and then we're going to be in Sardinia interviewing people in the blue zones there to see what it is that they're doing in order to be able to be living over 100 years old. And one of the things about Italy, as you know, is they've got great pizza, great pastas, the breads, they're all amazing. So you can still have the pastas.
Great wine,
have the bread, do those things and not even lose weight. In fact, we've got some cases of the week to talk about that as an example of people who did exactly that. talk about one of them being Sue Myers. Sue
Oh,
Myers,
yes, it was a great story.
having gone to Italy for a couple of weeks, she actually lost, I think the total amount that she lost while she was on vacation was 4 pounds because she had metabolic flexibility and she was enjoying her time while she was there. She wasn't depriving herself of all of the wonderful foods there in Italy. She was enjoying them. She was having a good time. Comes back home, gets on the scale, and she's 4 pounds less. She couldn't believe it because prior to that, prior to even going through our metabolism program, she didn't have that metabolic
Not
flexibility.
even
And
a
she's
little
like,
bit.
oh my gosh, this actually worked. I didn't have to go on a diet before I left to go on vacation.
Yeah, this was the classic person who carried that extra 30 pounds and it didn't matter what she did. The thought of that she could be that metabolically flexible person didn't even seem real for her. Another great case, speaking of Italy, is our good friend Sandy Wilcox.
Yeah.
And Sandy is somebody who, if you, in our group, in our community, a lot of you probably know Sandy, but Sandy has gone through our metabolism program, and she her it's funny. Her husband was really resistant to her actually doing it, and Sandy was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do because this is best for me." Obviously, now he's so glad she did because he goes, basically, I got my hottie back. I got the girl that I married, 30, 40 years ago. But Sandy is somebody that who had lost weight and really had built strong metabolic flexibility. So when she was in Italy with her husband there for over a couple weeks, she said, I was loving all the wine and the food and enjoying myself. She actually, when she left, she weighed, I believe, 120.2 pounds. And when she got back, for 2 weeks of loving life on vacation, not worrying about anything, she came back 119.2. So she lost a full pound while being gone on vacation, not having to be on a diet, and then not even better, not having to get back on a diet when you come back. Can you imagine if you're that person who's always struggled that you would never have to struggle anymore? You could go on a vacation, and then when Monday rolled around, you're not back on the next diet. You actually came back thinner. How cool would that be? And that is a reality for a lot of the people that we work with.
Yeah, it is, and these are people that we actually got to travel with in Italy that were there on a retreat that we did. For those of you guys who wonder, do people ever have like in-person experiences with you guys? The answer to that is absolutely yes. In fact, this one right here, who was there, Holly, she said that she was there traveling for 13 days. As soon as she got back, she said, I was happy to report. She goes, I was up zero point 0.4 pounds, right? That's probably whatever she had for breakfast that morning
That was
before
that
she
was
went
that was the
when she got
water
back.
weight or the fluid retention on the airplane with all the radiation that she got on the way back home.
Yeah, so we see this over and over and over. And the reason that that happens is because these folks do have metabolic flexibility. And metabolic flexibility really truly is metabolic freedom. It's the freedom from having to ever have to do a diet or worry about that again. And so that's for people who are interested in going through our program. If you are interested in what it is that we do to be able to help people who work with us one-on-one, you can go to metabolismscore.com, get more information about that. But let's talk about some things that people can do. Let's say they're like, you know what, I'm not ready for the program, or just what are things that I can do right now as I'm getting ready to go on vacation to be able to make sure that I do have some of this metabolic freedom or don't have to worry about dieting when I am on vacation. What can I do right now, do level stuff this summer?
Yeah, well, let's give some practical tips. The worst thing you can do is start starving yourself before you go, right? So if you're going on a vacation and you want to tighten things up and look your best, there's nothing wrong with that. We all want to do that. Heck, I've been doing the same thing, kind of leading into our travels. But the same thing is kind of what I always do, which is
Exactly.
I'm like I don't want to be ever on a diet again or eat a half gallon of ice cream on a vacation because I feel so deprived. So, don't starve yourself. Don't put your metabolic state into such a low energy place that you end up with the cravings and this insatiable desire to pig out on everything when you go. Just be reasonable, right? It's really simple. Move your body daily, eat real food, get outside, do those things, start conditioning and preparing yourself to do the exact same things you can enjoy when you are. Because one of the beauties on vacation that I love is not that I was on a diet and now I get to eat whatever I want. I like to live my life in new areas of the world or wherever I go and continue that same thing. Like I really enjoy working out on vacation because I know I don't necessarily have a meeting I have to get back to by a certain time. It's more relaxing for me to not have to be on a rigorous schedule. So a lot of the things that you may make excuses of that you're not doing because you're busy on vacation really is the perfect time to go, you know what? Now's the perfect time to make sure I'm implementing these things every day. Get up every morning, get your butt out of bed, get outside and go for a walk and get sun in your eyes. That is the best way to start your day. Do it before you go, and you'll do it when you leave on vacation.
I was going to say, so it sounds like it's like building these healthy habits ahead of time. And it's funny because I was literally just thinking about it this morning as I was out of my walk. My mindset before going or leaving to go out of town would have been that person that was over exercising before I left, which can really damage your metabolism. Not only that, but it can also lead to damage as far as your body physically. There's nothing like heading into a vacation, you can't walk. That's not a good thing either. And I've done that one before as well. And then I was just thinking with that old mindset as I was walking, I'm like, you know what's really cool is this is just something that I do every day. After I finished that, I walked, I went literally walked into the gym, and you know what? I was lifting weights. I was doing those things, something again that I do on a daily basis. So it really is building those habits, because once they're a habit, that's just part of your everyday life. So when you are on vacation, you're not on a vacation from those things. It's just what it is that you do every single day.
Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. And, we don't make a lot of products, but the products we do make are all metabolically focused. So go check these out. Go to thehappyhealthylife.com. And when you get to checkout, use code podcast to save 10% off any and all of our metabolic friendly products.
Hey there. Thank you so much for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. We appreciate it. Now, if you're somebody who's curious about your metabolism, how you're doing with your metabolism, go to metabolismscore.com, take the quiz, find out where you're at. And so here's then some tools, okay? If you are that person that's like, okay, what do I do? Okay, so what you want to make sure that you do when it comes to having a healthier metabolism is bring travel-friendly staples, things that you know are going to be helping you from a nutrient perspective. And so you want to travel with the things that we love to travel with is going to be things like our trace minerals, the SCT oil. You can travel with that.
You saved the day last night
Yeah.
at dinner when we were I had a good friend in town, and we were going to one of our favorite Italian restaurants.
And he's a health and wellness expert that if we said his name right now, everybody would know exactly who he is.
What started and exited two major, massive nutraceutical companies that you would see in every Whole Foods across the world. But anyway, the point is you saved the day because, we were there at the restaurant, and we were wanting some salt for our short rib that we'd ordered. And you had the Happy Healthy Trace Mineral Salts at the table.
Never leave home without it.
Never leave home without them. And it highlighted the evening because it made the food so much more flavorful and so much more nutritious as we're getting those minerals with that quality, man, that tender short rib beef. It was nice. So anyway, not to interrupt, but I'm like, that's a classic example. If you do that when you're here, when you go to a restaurant on vacation, you might want to have it in your purse, ladies, right? You might want to keep it on you, or at least have it available. That way you can use it when you're there, because you don't want to go a day without putting good minerals on your food. I don't want to go a day without eating good food and putting good minerals on it. And I definitely don't want to be on vacation and not have that same benefit.
So let's talk about those minerals then. Okay, so why then, if somebody's on vacation, not just on vacation, but on an everyday basis, why are those trace minerals important as it relates to metabolism?
Well, it's a big part of your hydration. Minerals are key for hydration. A lot of times on vacation, if you're stressed or you've had a travel day, or even if you've been that person who's been over exercising, you really can deplete yourself of these key minerals, put a lot of stress on your kidneys, can really affect your body's ability to manage your stress and the hormone insulin. So you can become really insulin resistant when you're mineral deficient. And also, minerals provide, a lot of almost every enzyme pathway in your body and hormones need these key minerals for you to detox your body, to support healing. Metabolism will not be strong without these key minerals. And we are bombarded with so many toxins now, even a lot of heavy metals, and those metals will compete for those same receptor sites in your body. So flooding your body daily with nutrient dense foods with trace minerals can really help detox your body and help protect you from other type of damage that you may run into as you travel or you're around certain environments or certain chemicals or certain things in the air. It really is just kind of a staple product that I think everybody should be using, and it's easy to travel with.
It is easy to travel with, and then using that in conjunction, for example, with like our SCT oil. One of the things that using the trace minerals, even our surge minerals and the SCT oil, that can be able to help your gut, can aid in digestion. I know for a lot of people, when they go on vacation, they end up having digestive issues. They become more irregular as far as the number of times that they go to the bathroom on a daily basis, or they may have like diarrhea or loose stools and things like
And
that.
that's
So,
crazy that you just said that. I always used to struggle when I
yeah,
would travel. Like the first 3 days, I couldn't ever have a bowel movement.
yeah,
It's like you get yourself out of
that's
your
the thing.
routine, and now you take the trace minerals. You got the SCT oil, the surge minerals with the humic and the fulvic. Yeah, you're right on track, and there is no break in that pattern where you don't feel your best.
Yeah, and especially for those of us who want to be in a swimsuit, especially, even ladies talk about this all the time. They're like, I don't want to get into the swimsuit because I feel bloated. I
Yeah,
literally
feel like a
feel like
puffer
I've got
fit.
a food baby. I'm down here. So
Yeah,
those trace minerals, the surge minerals, and the SCT oil will help you with that, so that you don't have that bloat,
yeah,
especially if you are eating some foods that you wouldn't normally eat on a regular basis. And so that goes right into making sure that you know where you're going to go. So I mean, it sounds simple, but it's planning ahead and knowing where
yeah.
you are going to go. In fact, I had a list of, we're going to be hosting a dinner while we're in Croatia. So I've got a list of these different restaurants to be able to go to so that we can take a look at the food lists there, because we want to make sure that as we're hosting this dinner, it's going to be happy, healthy, approved foods for everybody to eat. So we're planning ahead. But we also plan ahead for our own meals
Selfishly,
and
yeah.
our own, selfishly our own meals. Now, the great thing is when you are in Europe, like a place like a Croatia or in Italy, you know that eating local there is going to be so much healthier than if you're eating in the United States. And so you
It's
have
true.
access to a lot of foods that don't have all those toxins in there, which is why, as an example, and people say this all the time, and if you've experienced this, for example, you go to Italy and you eat the pizza, and then people are like, you know what? I literally was able to eat an entire pizza and I didn't feel bloated. I didn't feel stuffed. I didn't feel terrible the next day. Reason being is because you don't have all the crap in the flour, and it's made with the
Yeah, the
zero flour
glyphosate.
there and the
Yeah.
glyphosate in there. So there's a reason why that is. And so knowing that going into Europe, it's a lot easier. London's a little different because we're speaking at another event in London. London is a lot more like the United States.
Right.
So as we're planning ahead, I'm like, okay, great. I literally picked the location to stay based on its proximity to a Whole Foods, so that I know that at least we can be able to go there, shop, get foods that we would normally eat, and then staying in an Airbnb, for example, versus staying in a hotel, so that you can actually cook and prepare your own food, specifically in London. Not so much an issue when you're in Italy or Croatia, but definitely London.
Yeah, yeah. You got to plan ahead, and planning ahead is not jumping into a convenience store and buying a bag of nuts and granola.
Oh my
That is the
gosh,
number
we're eating
one
that on an airplane.
worst snack you could ever eat. You're getting roasted nuts and seeds. You're getting all the polyunsaturated fatty acid, these rancid oils, high in linoleic acid. Then you're getting the oats and the grain that are just loaded with glyphosate, which destroys your gut, makes you feel miserable and toxic, along with, they always add sunflower oil as a nice seed oil preservative into that granola, among other problems. So if you're that granola person, stop doing that. Stop eating food at the airport and stop eating food on the airplane even before you get there. If you're doing that, you're already setting your metabolism up to feel miserable and for you to feel lethargic, and you will feel bloated. No granola. Stop eating that
You're
nonsense.
also getting yourself set up to have actually some physical harm done, because if you're sitting next to me on an airplane, eating granola
Oh,
or
this is,
eating
oh
nuts.
no.
What's my biggest pet peeve?
Dude, if you hear people crunching and chewing food, like I was just eating yogurt beside you the other day and I was spooning it out and like there's not really any chewing involved and you're literally cringing over here. I'm like,
Does anybody else have
now I
this
wanted to get a
dysfunction?
bag of almonds and just start crunching almonds to drive you
That
nuts.
is
You
that
literally
that
would
is
torture
my.
you.
I don't know
Yeah.
what it is.
Yes.
Okay, true story. When I was in college, my sister, because she knows this about me,
Yeah.
and my kids know this about me as well. But my sister, she would call me on the phone while I was in college, and yeah, I can't hear any mouth or chewing noises. Sharon, you'll say I'm the same as your husband, and so she would call me on the phone. She wouldn't even say a word, and I could hear her crunching. She would have like
Oh, I
a
love
like
your
a
sister. That's
yeah.
amazing. Thank you. Which
What
sister?
Sarah, the one that she's actually
Thank you for doing that to
she
him,
may be
Sarah.
listening right
I
now,
love it.
and
Thank
she would
you.
just eat potato chips and not say a word,
Yes.
and then hang up the phone.
Yes.
I
I'm
caught on
loving
to it, so
this.
I would just, and that was before caller ID and all that stuff, so I didn't know who was calling. I would literally just like hang the phone up on her. Anyway,
Oh,
sure.
great, great
So
story. But
you
yeah,
never know.
so I don't know how we got off on
Yeah.
that, but
Okay.
yeah, just that's a big snack you want to avoid and don't eat that nonsense. Yeah, be prepared, guys. You know, you can pick up things, you can travel with. Heck, it's easy too to even on the airport, you can get things through security, boiled eggs, fruit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you can
Absolutely.
take with you, even quality beef jerky or biltong. There's things you can take and travel with that are easy to eat, that are loaded full of nutrients. Focus on good quality protein, and fruit is always for the win. Nutrient dense, so delicious, so satisfying. Don't be scared to eat fruit. It's really my go-to when I'm on a vacation. I like to eat local fruits because local fruits, especially in tropical areas, just taste different than what we're buying in the grocery store. There's no doubt about it.
Would you consider Gulf Shores, Alabama, a tropical area that you could actually eat local?
I would say Gulf Shores, Alabama. No disrespect. Love you guys out there in Orange Beach, but you probably have to read labels or probably avoid eating out, or you're going to have to bring your SCT oil with you and say, hey, could you please cook in this? I don't know that eating local is as easy there as it's going to be in Croatia.
I want to go eat local where Chris is at in Hawaii. Yeah,
Yes.
that's where you want to eat local.
Yes, some good dolphin fish.
Absolutely. All
Yeah.
right. So
Some white fish, nice tropical. That's so good. That's great in SCT oil, by the way, with some
So,
trace minerals.
so let's talk about an amazing strategy that you can use to be metabolically healthy while you're on vacation. Okay, it's and we call this the seesaw method. If you've listened to us before, okay, so now you've got your snacks, you've got your foods, you've planned ahead. Let's talk about the seesaw method. What does that mean when you're on vacation? Okay.
Yeah, the seesaw method is exactly what it sounds like. You know, you've got a fulcrum and you've got a plank that goes up and down based off, the weight of what's on the other side. And so your fulcrum in your mind as you're navigating this, think about your fulcrum of your seesaw as your protein. Always go for a great quality source of protein. So when you snack, when you eat, when you go out to eat, when you're shopping, you always want to pick your protein first. So get a clean source of protein. Obviously, we always recommend sci-fi single ingredient food items. So these are going to be like if it's beef, it's got one ingredient, it's beef. If it's chicken, you got one ingredient. If it's eggs, it's one ingredient, it's an egg. Always focus on single ingredient food items. Protein is perfect for that. And now, protein really gives you your structure, gives you your amino acids. Your body's using these amino acids to even help create glutathione and to detox and repair. But you want to now give your body great energy sources of food. And this is the fun part because I love great energy sources of food. And your two best sources of energy foods are going to be fats and carbohydrates. And so going back to the seesaw, when your protein is your fulcrum, what you want to do is focus on eating an energy source. So if it's going to be fat, you want to eat lots of great quality fats. And if you've listened to us before, we talk about this nonstop, is don't eat seed oil. These are your omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. You cannot metabolize them for energy. They are a toxin and your body will sequester them and store them in your fatty tissue. That's why they hang around and do damage for years and years and years. You want to focus on saturated fats. Stay away from unsaturated fats. So unsaturated fats, things like canola oil, corn oil, soy, peanut, even avocado oil, some olive oils could be dangerous. Focus on your saturated fats like coconut oil, tallow, butter, SCT oil. These are your most nutrient dense fats and great sources of energy, and you want to eat those and enjoy those. But if you're going to eat those, just like on that seesaw, you don't also want to eat another huge amount of a high energy source of carbohydrates. So if you're going to go higher fat, then go lower carbohydrate. But you could also do the opposite of that and raise the seesaw on the other side, lower the amount of fat you're going to eat, maybe just focus on the protein, and now enjoy more carbohydrates. So maybe some raw honey, maybe some maple syrup, maybe some ripe fruit, some fresh fruit juices. One of my favorite things when traveling is I really enjoy drinking fresh, locally pressed fruit juice, coconut water. These are great energy sources of food that you can enjoy with zero guilt, especially if you're metabolically flexible, but you don't want to go high fat, high carb. The seesaw doesn't work that way. You want to go higher fat, lower carb, lower fat, higher carb. Protein is your fulcrum. You eat that with every meal. You're 1, 2, 3 times a day. Don't be afraid to enjoy these foods, but think about real food. Simply eat real food. Sci-fi, single ingredient food items. Think about that seesaw. I think that will help you navigate when you're snacking and eating on vacation. And especially if you've done any prep work whatsoever, you should be able to get access to all of these types of foods.
Yeah, shameless plug for the folks that love orange juice. If you want to have the best fresh squeezed orange juice
Are you talking about Morocco?
Yeah, on the face of the planet, it's going to be on the ferry from Tarifa to Morocco.
Oh,
so
man.
if you're ever headed down that way, stop in at the little convenience store.
Well, you don't have a choice if you're taking the ferry.
It's the only one. Yeah, the little convenience store as you're getting on the ferry. Best fresh squeezed orange juice we've ever had.
Oh my goodness.
Okay.
The only irritating part was I served it in this like little 8-ounce cup, and I was like, can I get like 4 more of these?
I mean, gosh, it took like 20 oranges to make that.
Oh, it's good.
All right. So here's something else. Okay, as you're when you're eating, okay, if you know, let's say you're out to eat and you're like, okay, we're on vacation, I really want dessert. No problem.
This is good.
Okay?
Yeah, I like this.
No problem at all. So if you're going to make one bad choice, don't make 3 other at the same time.
Yes.
So in other words, if you're going to have the dessert, then don't have the sugary mixed drink. Don't have the bread. Don't have something that you already know is going to be a bad choice. Just do the one and everything is good. You don't have to worry about changing anything the next day. You don't have to worry about all that stuff, but just make one bad choice if you're going to make a bad choice.
Yeah, and man, you get in big trouble when you start breaking multiple rules at one meal. So then you're like, yeah, I do want the bread, right? And then I do want the fried fish, right? I do want the mixed drink and the espresso martini and the wine. I do want the dessert. Like you literally blow the entire meal. Yeah, if you want the bread, enjoy the bread. Just ask for real butter to make sure you slather it in real butter or bring your SCT oil. But then you made that choice. So guess what? You don't get the wine. You don't get the espresso martini. So breaking one rule at a meal is not that bad, especially when it's done on occasion. But if you start going 2, 3, 4, 5 rules in one meal, you're setting yourself up for horrible sleep. You're going to wake up probably in the middle of the night with a blood sugar crash. You're going to wake up starving, and now it's pancakes, waffles, and God knows what else the next morning. So don't confound the one mistake. Isolate it. Be smart enough to enjoy it with no guilt. And don't break multiple rules.
Yeah, so it could even be like, I mean, you've got 3 meals in the day. If you're going to make the bad choice, have dessert. If you're using the seesaw method, you could even have the dessert at lunchtime. And then in the evening, you've got your good fats and you have a glass of wine. You're good to go for that entire day. You got to enjoy the dessert.
Yep.
You got to have some wine. You got to enjoy your good fats. It's all good. It's just really about knowing how to be able to make these choices while you're on vacation. And it's not hard. And you can enjoy all the foods that you really love while you are on vacation and do it completely guilt-free and have that freedom.
Yeah, especially if you just get up the next day, go get your steps in, get outside, get sun in your eyes, get moving. I'm telling you, even if you drank maybe too much the night before, one of the best things you can do for that, any type of hangover, not feeling great, is just get up in the morning, get your feet on the ground and get sun in your eyes for 10, 15, 20 minutes, it's remarkable what will happen and how you begin to feel. So not saying drink too much. Obviously, we know you all would never do that. I'm speaking, to people that probably don't follow this podcast maybe, but if you did have too many, get up the next morning and it will make a huge difference just recharging your body. Because remember, the sun isn't just about getting vitamin D. Your sun is your battery pack. It charges your mitochondria. It lights up your eyes. It starts setting your circadian rhythms. It's going to help you feel better and also set you up for a good night's sleep that next night.
Yeah, and so even exactly with that, you can do that in the morning. You could get your walk in, get your sun in. You could also skip breakfast, and so keep your feeding window in an 8-hour feeding window. If you did mess things up the night before, don't worry about it. Just sleep in or get up, exercise, and or skip breakfast.
Yeah, and I like to keep my rule of thumb is 12 hours. So if I end up, on vacation, a lot of times, maybe eating later, having, a glass of wine with your friends, and it's maybe 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night. So what you want to do is the last amount of food or drink that you have, that starts your 12-hour window. So you always want to give your body at least 12 hours to repair, to heal, to detox, to revitalize. So if my last amount of calories and food was at 12 o'clock at night, then my next meal can't start until 12 noon the next day. So always use that 12-hour rule of thumb to help navigate when you break the fast for the next day.
Yeah, so with that, always remember too, when you're in a new environment like that as well, you don't have to worry about that. Just, embrace the new environment that you're in when you are on vacation, because whenever you put stress on the body, and we've talked about that in the past being a hormetic stress, that's when your body is also growing. And that's what was really cool, is that even under that hormetic stress, those cases that we talked about earlier showed you that their body had grown to a level of a higher metabolism, so much so that it was working so fast that they actually lost weight while they were on vacation. So don't be afraid of that.
Bless you.
Thank you. So don't be afraid of that new stress. It's good for your body. It's good to support your nervous system. Speaking of nervous systems, it's never a bad thing also to find a local chiropractor so
man,
that you
for
keep your
sure.
nervous system taken care of, while you're there. The great thing for us is we're our own
We can travel
chiropractors.
with each other.
So we've always got a traveling chiropractor when we're around each other. In fact,
Yes.
in Croatia, I'm excited as well, because the group that we're going to be speaking to is a group of chiropractors. There's going to be like 22 chiropractors at this retreat. So there'll be adjustments for everybody at that thing.
That really is a game changer when you travel, sleeping in a different bed, maybe a long flight, you're out of your routine. It's definitely worth getting chiropractic care. Now, it's always worth it, but yeah, that may be something that could change your vacation life to get adjusted while you're on vacation. So yeah, the benefits of being a chiropractor and your best friend being one and your business partner, it's pretty cool. So thank you, Dr. Rob, for always making sure I stay well adjusted.
Absolutely. No problem at all. So remember, you know what? Travel is not a detour from your health journey. Okay. It is part of that journey. We want you to be living, enjoying life, literally living in this beautiful life that God's given us. And it doesn't have to mean that you can't have a great, healthy metabolism while you are on a vacation. So, some parting words for today's podcast. I just like to say, you know what? You don't have to worry about earning your vacation ahead of time, right? Ahead of time, just make sure that you are living in this metabolic flexibility and have done the work ahead of time so that you are enjoying the time while you are on vacation.
Yeah, no, I think that is the point, is put the work in to create the life that you want. And remember, a lot of the things that we love to do in life really are contingent on the level of health that you have. And for both of us, we've been through health crisis. We really don't know if you're going to come out of the other side of it. Don't wait to be in that situation. Some of you may have already been in that situation. Put the work in to create the life that you want, because vacations, family events, travel, food, life is better when you have a strong, healthy metabolism, when you've got energy, when you've got mental clarity, when your joints don't hurt, when you're at your ideal weight, when you feel confident about your life and yourself or where God is moving you because you have put the work in, life is better. And it's not about being perfect. We always talk about that, right? You don't want to be fragile. The spark is only as dangerous as the tinder that it has access to. But if you haven't put the work in, if you find yourself in this yo-yo diet, if you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what to do, that's one of the reasons why we do this podcast, why we have the company, why we have our metabolism program. So like you said earlier, go to metabolismscore.com if you want to know how is your metabolism performing. It really is the foundation to all things health and longevity. If you don't lay a strong foundation and you don't have good metabolic flexibility, you're really stuck to your own devices and willpower. And we already know about willpower, Dr. Rob. What does that do?
It will let you down.
Yeah.
So don't be that person that says after they come back home from their vacation that I need a vacation after coming home from the vacation. So many people say that, right? They stress themselves out even on the vacation. They're like, oh my God, I need a vacation now. So don't be that person. Just live these habits every single day, living this happy, healthy life. As always, thank you so much for listening to the show. Like it, share it, comment. For all those people that we meet along this journey, it's like every single day we're talking to people, letting them know about the podcast. We know that they're listening. We just want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. And the greatest gift that you could ever give us is just to share the show with someone else. So thank you so much. And you guys have a wonderful day. We will see you on the other side of this trip. Stay tuned also for the next podcast. We're gonna be talking about some recipes and some things that we love for those people that are thinking about their 4th of July plans and or what it is that they're going to be eating at their outdoor barbecues, at their
we will be celebrating metabolic freedom
at their fiestas with their family members. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be a fun episode. And you guys have a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.
Yep. God bless you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Happy Healthy Life podcast. If you enjoy the show, make sure to follow them on Instagram at the H2 Life or on YouTube and Facebook at the Happy Healthy Guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and review the show wherever you listen to podcasts.